Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm happy to have you be part of this information session for the B Impact Clinic for the fall 2020 clinic. So just by way of introduction, my name's Fiona Wilson, for those of you that don't know me. I am the Deputy Chief Sustainability Officer here at UNH and also Director of the Sustainability Institute. I'm also an affiliate faculty member at the Paul College of Business and Economics. I want to also make some introductions for you tonight to the other people who are joining me. And let's see. Okay, so Erin, would you like to maybe just introduce yourself briefly?
Absolutely. So I'm Erin Allgood. I am the co-faculty mentor for the B Impact Clinic. And I also have my own consulting business called ELA Consulting. And I've been just so honored to be able to join this semester and get to learn, to get to meet the students and learn more about how this, how the B Impact Clinic runs, and looking forward to being part of this in the fall as well.
Thanks so much, Erin. And then we also have, in the clinic, typically we have 3 or 4 peer mentors also working with the student teams. They are students who have participated in the clinic at least once in the past. We have 3 peer mentors this semester, and one of those, Devin Geyer, is with us tonight. So I'm going to ask Devin to briefly just say hi as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Devin. I'm a senior majoring in environmental conservation and sustainability and justice studies, doing the clinic this semester and last semester.
Great, thanks so much, Devin. And we're going to hear a little bit more from Devin in a little bit. So thanks for being here, Devin. So tonight, what we would like to do is to give you a little bit of an overview of BLab, which is the nonprofit behind B Corps, and to mostly tell you a little bit about B Corps and the B Corp movement. This experience, the B Impact Clinic, is fundamentally kind of linked to the B Corp movement and to the B Impact Assessment, which is the main tool that companies use to assess and improve their environmental and social impact. So we're going to give you an overview of sort of BLab and B Corps, and then we'll spend a little bit of time also talking about the B Impact Clinic. So just by way of context, you know, capitalism in this country and around the world as well is not in great shape for a whole host of reasons, many of which you probably already know. Americans' kind of sort of favorable rating of capitalism has been on the decline, and you can see here just in sort of 2 years between 2018 and 2016, there was a really sharp decline of 12 points. But it's really been in sort of free fall since 2010. You know, back then in 2010, almost 68% of people thought capitalism was sort of a positive force in our world. And in 2018, it was less than 50%. So the bottom line is, right, you know, Americans, particularly Gen Z and Millennials, are less than enamored with capitalism. And there are good reasons for that, right? Just one other piece of data here, the Deloitte Millennial Survey found that that people in that age group, you know, really are starting to think less and less positively of business and business leaders. You can see some of that data on the slide there. I won't read it, but you can see that, you know, the negative views are getting worse, and the sort of the views of businesses having things like no ambition beyond wanting to make money are kind of going up. So not a great situation. The BLab, which is a national and now global nonprofit, they are really a nonprofit that started about 10 years ago with a really bold vision. And their vision was that, you know, one day all companies will not will compete to be best for the world, rather than being best in the world, right? Traditionally, businesses are all about kind of competing with one another and taking market share away from one another, gaining customers, gaining revenues from their competition. And, while, within the capitalist system, companies have to make enough money to be able to pay their employees well, to be able to reinvest in research and development, to pay their suppliers well, to be good citizens in their communities. That need to sort of make money is never going to go away. That's sort of a fundamental part of the market system. But BLab really has a vision that companies don't have to put profits over people on the planet. They really want to create a system where people, planet, and profit can sort of be aligned. And maybe this data will resonate with you, right? Not surprisingly, given some of the early data I shared, people are demanding better, right? This movement is being fueled by consumers and by employees. 90% of Americans say that companies must not only say a product or service is beneficial, but they need to prove it. And 73% of consumers care about the company, not just the product. Not just the product when making a purchasing decision, right? So we as consumers, as investors, as employees, we're demanding better of companies. And so I think we're starting to see this really interesting shift where in the last 20 years, we've had a lot of kind of certifications like the USDA Organic Seal or LEED certified buildings or fair trade products, right? They're all certifications, very good certifications, very rigorous ones that really are about saying, is this a good product? Is this a product that was produced ethically and sustainably? But where we're shifting now is to really want to say, who are the companies behind these products? And are these companies holistically kind of good companies? And this is really where certified B corporations come in. Just a little bit of information here just to show you kind of how this movement is really taking hold. Some pretty impressive people up here on the screen who really just are sort of signaling that that B Corps are an important and valuable part of sort of the business landscape today. So I mentioned that BLab is the global nonprofit that has been around for 10 years. They really started this movement, and they are really putting together a really smart approach to how do we really build this kind of idea as business as a force for good in the world. And so they started off by building a community of sort of thousands of credible leaders, people who are now certified B Corps. But they realized that to be able to do that and to make it transparent and easy for us as consumers and employees and as investors, that they needed to create the tools to make it easy for millions of other businesses to follow in the footstep of these sort of early pioneer businesses. And that ultimately that will allow billions of consumers and workers and investors to follow in their footsteps. And so certified B Corps is a way to think about this. Is B Corp certification is to business what sort of the responsible down standard is to your equipment, or LEED is to maybe the office building. At UNH, Paul College is a certified gold LEED building, right? So B Corp certification is really at the level of the company, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. So I mentioned that there are now thousands of certified B Corps around the world. I think as of a few days ago, there were 3,200, but it's growing literally every day. Many of them are in the United States, but we now have B Corps in over 60 countries around the world, and they span 150 industries. But again, the sort of unifying goal of all B Corps is really a movement that is about, really using business as a force for good. So you can see here on the screen just a few of the kind of better known B Corps around the world. Maybe some of these are companies you buy from or would like to work for someday. But some really, really exciting companies are now certified B Corps, and many, many hundreds of others that you've probably never heard of, but they're all companies that have made this commitment. And what is that commitment? So the commitment is, and this really is what what the B Impact Clinic, this experience at UNH, really hinges on. So to become a certified B Corp, companies have to go through the B Impact Assessment. We also sometimes call it the BIA. And it really is a very rigorous, very comprehensive, I would argue kind of the most comprehensive and rigorous assessment of a company's sustainability available today. It's free and it's open source to companies who want to take it. And it is about 300 different questions, so very comprehensive, as I said, and it covers questions in all areas of the company. So it looks at how you treat your employees, your workers, what policies and practices do you have. It looks at your community. Are you a good community citizen? How do you treat your suppliers? You know, whether your suppliers are right next door or on the other side of the world. It looks at environmental policies and practices. Are you measuring greenhouse gas emissions? Are you using renewable energy? Are you using energy efficient light bulbs? Lots and lots of questions about environmental policies and practices. It looks at customers and what kind of product or service are you creating of benefit for customers and how do you treat those customers? And lastly, it looks at governance. How is the company? Do you have a board of directors? Is your governance ethical and transparent? So it's a really holistic, as I said, kind of assessment of really kind of what goes into making a sustainable company today in a very kind of detailed way. And so here you can just see a little bit more detail on the B Impact Assessment. You can look at some of the things on the screen that the BIA covers. And again, it's about 300 questions in total in these broad categories. So I want to segue now into talking a little bit about why we started the B Impact Clinic at UNH. And it was really based on this idea that, you know, we know that many of you are motivated. You want to use your education. You want to use your future careers to really do some good in the world, right? This is a study from a couple of years ago, but overwhelmingly, you know, the #1 criteria by which your generation on average says they will measure the success of their career is doing work that has a positive impact on society. We all need to make money. We all need to pay our bills and support ourselves and our families. But you can see from this slide here that, you know, only 14% said having reached a high level of salary was sort of the measure of success in their career, and almost half of your generation talks about wanting to do work that has a positive impact on society. And similarly, another study shows that almost 3/4 of undergrads today you see yourselves as leaders who will improve the world's social or environmental challenges. So we really saw that students were hungry to really learn more about what does it really mean to be a sustainable business, and to sort of make a contribution to sort of building this movement as business as a force for good. We know that, you know, you're hungry to get involved in companies that, you know, are thinking this way. And so at UNH's Sustainability Institute, we are partnered with the Paul College of Business and Economics and also the Carsey School of Public Policy. And part of our mission in that partnership is to create what we're liking to call the Changemaker Collaborative. And it's really a center that allows us to create for students at UNH a whole range of different experiences and opportunities that really allow you, while you're in college, to get out of the classroom, to get out of the context that you know, and to really step into the real world and to be able to, you know, apply and practice what you've learned in the classroom in partnership with real world companies. And this is really all in service of kind of giving you those experiences so that you can graduate with the confidence and the competence and the experience to really use your degree to create positive change for the good of all. And so that's when we decided to start the B Impact Clinic. You can see a slide here from from one of our showcases at the end of the spring 2019 semester. So we hold the clinic every semester. It's a collaborative model, so it's UNH's Center for Social Innovation and Enterprise, which, as I just said, is a collaboration between Poole College, the Carsey School, and the Sustainability Institute at UNH. We work really closely with the nonprofit BLab. They're based in Philadelphia, but they are very much part of our work. And then we also partner with New Hampshire Businesses for Social Responsibility, and they are a key partner in helping us find the client companies that our student teams work with each semester. You can see here a little bit about how this program's evolved over time. So we launched it back in 2018. We just were working with 2 students and me and 1 client. But over the last couple of semesters, we've been growing that, working with some really cool companies. You can see those, you can see the logos of the companies we've worked with up on the screen, and slowly been growing the number of students that we've been working with. And as I mentioned, we also have paid peer mentors every semester. They're students who have been through the program at least once before and have decided they want to sort of pay it forward and work to help students who are new to the clinic kind of navigate the process. So just a little bit about the goals for the clinic. You know, really our goal is to help connect you, when you're students, to the network of businesses in the region and beyond. One of the companies we're working with this semester is actually based in New York City. So most of the companies we work with are based in New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, but we are starting to work with clients from further away. And we really want to sort of help you create your network and help you create those connections to those B Corps and to those companies that are aspiring to become B Corp certified. You know, we want those to be pathways for you to help get jobs in the future. One of our other goals is to really allow you to, you know, engage in a really sort of immersive, hands-on learning experience. Most of the students who do the program are doing it for 2 credits, and we can talk later about how we make those credits possible for you. And I think really, you know, what's highlighted here in red is that we really just want you to understand in a very deep way what the B Corp assessment, the B Impact assessment is all about, and really understand what it truly means to be a sustainable company, you know, not just in a kind of superficial way, but in a very, very detailed and deep way. I think one of the really nice side benefits of the clinic as well is that, you know, it's project-based work with companies, and so it really helps you develop your professional skills, including project management and communication. And it's certainly something that's, you know, a great accomplishment for your resume and for your LinkedIn profile. I've got up here on the screen the perspective of a student, Jill Howard. She spent 2 semesters in the clinic, and you can sort of see a little bit here on her experience. I think what's really cool is that Jill graduated back last summer, and pretty immediately after graduation, she was offered a job at a company called Ahold Delhaize. They are the largest grocery retail chain in the world. They own companies in America like Hannaford. And Jill landed a job, her first job out of college, as their sustainability analyst. And in her interview, they said that one of the things that they really attracted them to her and why she got the job was because she'd had this experience of working with the B Impact assessment so deeply. I'm going to ask Devin Gaia to jump in and share a little bit of her experience now. Devin's been in the clinic also for a couple of semesters. So Devin, go ahead, and would love to have you share a little bit with people about your experience in the clinic.
Yeah, definitely. I worked last semester with Jack's Pizza, which is based in Pittsfield, New Hampshire, which is in central New Hampshire. And this semester I'm working with Kennebunk Savings Bank, both very different companies, but because of that, it's another awesome learning opportunity that, even though this is now the 3rd company, because before the clinic I worked with Pete and Jerry's Organic Eggs and helped them with their B Impact assessment. All of these different companies really gives you a new insight into what it means to be a sustainable business in these different industries. So personally, I've learned a lot about what it means for a company to interact with their community, with their customers, with their workers, and also with the environment. And also being able to connect with amazing people that work in companies. For example, my core contact from last semester, Kathleen, that worked with Jack's Pizza, is someone that I'm still working with this semester. So this clinic has given me an opportunity to continue to network with companies that have values that align with mine of saving the environment and also being socially responsible. And it's just been an opportunity that I don't think I would have been able to get anywhere else. So yeah, I love it also. So it's fun.
Devin, could you just say a little bit about sort of the mix of students who are in the clinic? So you're not a business major, right? Maybe say a little bit about your major and also just a little bit about the mix of other students in the clinic.
Definitely, yeah. I'm not a business major. I'm majoring in environmental conservation and sustainability and justice studies. So I'm in COLA and COLSA. But we have students from communication, we have students from business administration, we have students that are majoring in the sustainability dual major while also being in women's studies or in business. So there's so many different backgrounds of students in the clinic because there's so many different levels of expertise that you need to have. This isn't just how well can you run a business or how well can you measure your greenhouse gases. It's how well can you interact with the community members that you're selling your products to, or how well can you interact with your supply chain, and how can you make sure that those companies are being socially and environmentally responsible. So you don't have to come from any specific background because the B impact assessment covers so many different grounds because it takes a lot in order to be a B Corp. So you don't have to worry about what background you come from because you will be able to give something and learn something no matter what major you are.
Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you, Erin. So Devin, I mean, so Devin will stay with us and we'll do some Q&A in a few seconds. But I wanted just to talk just a little bit about sort of, what is the student role in the clinic and expectations. And so, at its heart, this is project-based learning. If you participate in the clinic, you'll be matched with a team of a couple of other students. Typically, we have teams of 3 that, from our experience, seems to be kind of the optimal number. And then each team also has a peer mentor. So Devin is one of those peer mentors this semester. And then also a faculty mentor is assigned to the team as well. You'll be matched with a client, a company, and typically there is one person from that company who is your main contact. And so as a team, you work collaboratively with that person from the company and with your peer and faculty mentors. And you're really, your goal is, over 15 weeks to really become an efficient and effective professional consulting team. So you do a lot of research and data gathering to complete the B impact assessment. As we said again, it's about 300 questions across those 5 areas. But to do that, you're really in kind of constant contact with your direct client, but oftentimes the teams are introduced by the client to other people within the company. So you're probably going to be reaching out to the chief financial officer, the chief HR person, the marketing officer, the supply chain person, because the breadth of the questions on the BIA really require you to interact with a lot of different people in the company. So it's a pretty cool experience from that perspective. It's also challenging, right? Because you have to communicate with busy people and get them to give you the data you need. But that makes it really rich and interesting. And then, there's also a lot of analysis and towards the latter part of the semester, developing recommendations to help companies improve their score by implementing some new practices. So on average, it's about 3 to 5 hours a week, and that includes weekly conference calls with your client, and then also weekly team meetings with your team and with the faculty mentors. Typically, we meet on Wednesday evenings, 5:10 to 6:30. And then you also meet outside of that with your client and obviously getting the work done as well. So just a little bit on the timeline for this coming fall. In late August, I'll come back to this. So in late August, really the first week of class, we have the internal kickoff, initial meeting with the teams and the peer mentors, and then really the first Wednesday after Labor Day is when the clients come in, they make presentations to all of the students, and then students have an opportunity to submit their preferences on which teams they would prefer to work. We can't always do an exact match, but I think most of the time, you know, students get to work on their first or second choice companies, which is pretty cool. And then really the first half of the semester is really about, you know, kicking off with your client, refining the goals that they have, creating a consulting agreement. Often you're signing a non-disclosure agreement with your client. We help you, we teach you some project management tools to help you manage. And we do some sort of deep dives to help you learn more about the B Impact assessment itself. It's a really powerful online platform that has a lot of richness in it. And then, so really the first half of the semester, you're doing a lot of data gathering and analysis. We have a mid-semester check-in when the clients come back to UNH in person, and we do some quick mid-semester check-in presentations. And then really the second half of the semester, and that's really where we are now with the current group, it's sort of ongoing teamwork. It's more focused on recommendations for improvements, and then preparing some final presentations and reports. And then in early mid-December, we do a dress rehearsal, and we have a big showcase, and student teams will be presenting to their clients, but also we invite the broader B Corp community and have a really fun networking reception as well. So that's really gives you a sense of the timeline, and hopefully a little bit about what the program involves. I'm going to pause here, and it's a chance for us to hear questions from anybody that would like to ask them. You can certainly, I'm going to unmute everybody, and so if people want to, I think I can unmute everyone, I hope I can. But you can also type your Q&A into the Q&A. There's a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, so feel free to type in any questions that you have. But I've also unmuted everybody, so if you want to shout out a question, you can also do that. Any questions from anyone?
Well, I'll just say from my point of view as the, oh, there we go. It looks like folks are now starting to be able to it's activating. But I would just say from my point of view that one of the best things as seeing the students go through this process is their ability to really start to make sense of this project. And so in the beginning, it's really, really kind of hard to wrap your head around the BIA and trying to understand all of the different questions that need to get done. How do you even format the Excel spreadsheet? There's so much information that the students are grappling with and starting to figure out how to make it manageable and meaningful. So it's been really great to see that process happen. And now that we're, coming back after spring break, we're starting to see the students actually really understand and gain lots and lots of traction with this project. So it's a process of discovery and kind of a process of putting all of the different pieces together. And it's really, really rewarding to kind of see, start to not quite finish yet, but from start to finish, like what actually happens in the transformative nature of that and the interactions with the clients. It's been really amazing to see the students interact so professionally. So it's an amazing experience that to be able to have as a student. It's not something I ever had when I was younger going through college. And I think that it's just for that reason, there's so many benefits to doing this program and going through the B Impact Clinic.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. Devin, is there anything else you'd like to add just about, things that you think were kind of a surprise to you, or things that you think might others listening to this webinar might find useful in thinking about whether they want to be part of this, either in the fall or in some future semester?
Definitely. So it can be extremely intimidating to sit in this Zoom call and kind of listen to all the things that are expected of you. And definitely at the beginning of the semester, it can be overwhelming. Even for myself at the beginning of last semester, entering this kind of environment and this clinic where I'm managing other students and creating timelines and consulting agreements, it can be really overwhelming. But that's kind of just the nature of it at the outset. It's kind of a self-learning experience where it's hands-on. So it's not something that if you wanted to just say, okay, I'll just read the B Impact book, or I'll just read about some companies online, you won't get the same experience necessarily as you would being in this clinic, kind of just reading about it. It's a very hands-on experience that will, if you feel overwhelmed right now, it's because that's essentially how the assessment is designed. Because in order for a company to truly show that they are socially and environmentally responsible and meeting these rigorous standards, it has to be overwhelming. And that's also why they're coming to students who are beginning to become experts in these different fields of communications and environmental conservation and business management and administration, because it takes a team to really look at this assessment and understand it. So if you feel overwhelmed or you feel like there's a lot of moving components, that means you're understanding it and you're getting the point of it. And you should definitely consider joining it, because this clinic is an experience that you won't be able to replicate just by reading about it on your own. And that's something I cannot emphasize enough, is that if you have the opportunity to participate, this is one of my favorite experiences I've had at UNH. And I don't even want to go into business. I'm actually looking into law school. So it really doesn't matter where you want to take your life after this. This is going to benefit you no matter what.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Devin. And Colleen, Colleen Spear, I can see you're on the call. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you've been part of the clinic. So I'm wondering if you would be willing just to offer some perspective as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Devin and Erin covered a lot of it. I would say that I've done the clinic twice, once with Lanza and once with Jack's Pizza, and I have professional ongoing relationships with both of those companies. So I'm still working with them and I'm still getting to do a lot of the work. And then beyond that, now that I have this experience, I've been able to go to other companies outside of the clinic and say, you know, I know that you're interested in doing the B Impact assessment. I know how to do it. Why don't you hire me? And I'll, you know, you fill out the questions and I'll take care of it on my own. And then I'm going to make an analysis of it. And I've been able to take the skills that I used in the clinic and form new professional relationships and work as a consultant also in college, which is really nice. And I also think that the B Impact assessment, I think that the word sustainability can sometimes feel like it doesn't mean a lot in the business world. It seems very general, you know, like what does that mean? And I think the impact assessment does a really good job of breaking down like each specific step a company can take to prove that they are committed to their community, they are committed to the environment, and it makes it feel a lot more achievable in the long run.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Colleen. Really great to see you on the call, and thanks for all your work in the clinic over the last couple of semesters as well. So I think we will probably bring this to a close. I will just say before we do that, that if you are interested in applying, because of the ongoing health crisis, we have extended the deadline to April 15th, and we'll put that application link in the chat for this webinar. But also you can feel free to reach out to myself, to Erin Allgood, who's the other faculty mentor who you've just heard from, and all of our peer mentors, Devin, Katie, and Tori. You met Devin this evening, but Katie and Tori are also awesome. Also happy to answer questions if you have those. The application is pretty short, won't take you much more than 20 minutes, I would imagine at most. And then we will be reviewing those applications and we'll let people know around April the 20th. And then for those of you that want to take it for credit, it will be a Paul College class, and we'll give the permission to enroll in that class. And then we'll be kicking off the first week of classes in the fall. When, as I said, it's Wednesdays 5:10 to 6:30. So you definitely need to make sure that you have space in your course schedule to do that every single Wednesday. And then there are 3 sessions that are longer: the kickoff, the midterm presentations, and the final showcase. They tend to be more like 2.5, 3 hours. I'm not going to play this video in the interest of time, but we'll put the link to it in the chat. It's a really wonderful. It's about a 6-minute video that really talks more about B Corps and what B Corps do. So encourage folks to watch that if you are interested. And just wanted to say thank you. You know, we're really excited at UNH to be the Sustainability Institute partnered with the Paul College of Business and Economics and the Carsey School of Public Policy, but also partnering with New Hampshire Businesses for Social Responsibility and the nonprofit BLab, you know, really helping build this movement of people using business as a force for good. You know, a world where businesses cannot just be good for profits, but can also be really good for people and planet. And, you know, we're super excited that we can allow students to be part of this movement. Students are people too. And, you know, I think it's a really cool opportunity to be part of this movement that's really growing rapidly in pretty exciting ways. It's a great opportunity to be part of this as students. So I hope you will consider joining us and applying for the fall, and we look forward to being in touch. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great night.